Hi everyone, welcome to Grammar 2. So in Lesson 1 you learned what nouns, verbs, and adjectives are. We're going to expand on that or learn more about that in Lesson 2 here. In Lesson 1 you learned what nouns are. In Lesson 2 you're going to learn what a pronoun is. In Lesson 1 you learned what a verb is. In Lesson 2 you're going to learn what irregular verbs are. In Lesson 1 you learned what adjectives are, and in Lesson 2 you're going to learn what adverbs are. Those are the three things we're learning about in Lesson 2: pronouns, irregular verbs, and adverbs. Let's start with pronouns. A pronoun is a word that is used in place of a noun in a sentence. You actually use pronouns all the time. Let's look at two sentences to see an example. You might say, "This boy is wearing a red shirt. He is also wearing a hat." In the second sentence, the word he is a pronoun. It takes the place of the noun boy that was used in the first sentence. Let's look at another example. You might say, "This girl has red hair," and the word girl is a noun when you say this sentence. If you add another sentence to that, you might say, "She is also wearing a green dress." She is a pronoun in this second sentence because it takes the place of the noun girl. In another example, you might say, "These girls are playing," and girls is a noun in that sentence. If you add another sentence to it, you might say, "They are having fun." They is a pronoun because it takes the place of the noun girls. There are a lot of different kinds of pronouns, and for learning how to build sentences, we're going to make sure we know about 4 kinds of pronouns. First is subject pronouns. The subject pronouns are I, you, he, she, it, we, they, what, and who. Second is object pronouns. The object pronouns are me, you, him, her, it, us, them, and whom. Third is possessive pronouns. The possessive pronouns are my, your, his, her, its, our, their, whose. All of these pronouns work in sentences just like nouns do. Let's move on to irregular verbs. An irregular verb is a verb that is not regular or not normal. When you use regular verbs to talk about the past, like yesterday or last night or last week or a year ago or 5 minutes ago, anytime you're talking about the past, when you use a regular verb, you add the letters ed to the verb. So if you want to talk about walking to the store yesterday, you would say, "Yesterday I walked to the store." Notice how in this sentence, ed is at the end of walk because it is a regular verb and I'm using it to talk about the past, to talk about yesterday. But irregular verbs are verbs where you change the verb in a different way in the past. And how you change it depends on the verb. So some examples. The verb speak is an example. If you want to use the verb speak in the past, you would say, "I spoke to my mom yesterday." I would not say, "I speaked to my mom yesterday." Some other examples. The verb break is an irregular verb. If I want to use it in the past, I would say, "I broke my pencil." I would not say, "I braked my pencil." Buy is another example. If I want to use buy in the past, I would say, "I bought a new pair of shoes." I wouldn't say, "I buyed a new pair of shoes." All those verbs I just used are irregular verbs because when I use them in the past, I don't just add ed to the present form of the verb. I change the word entirely when using it in the past tense. That's what makes a verb an irregular verb. And the irregular verbs are verbs that you use all the time in English, and they're really important to memorize. Thankfully, on the website, I have a list of all the irregular verbs that you need to memorize. Let's move on to adverbs. Adverbs are adjectives that describe verbs. So regular adjectives describe nouns, but adverbs describe verbs. A lot of the time, adverbs end with the letters ly. So you might have the verb quiet and say, "He's a quiet person." If you want to use an adverb to describe how he speaks, you would say, "He speaks quietly." Other examples are happy and happily, soft and softly, quick and quickly. One example that doesn't use ly is the word well. Well is the adverb of good.